Hello everyone, thank you for joining me. Cindy here from CLB Craft Creations with a 3D project for you today. This is the Baker's Box. It's the Thinlits, and I'll show you that in just a second. It also features the hardwood background stamp, very monochromatic, very neutral, and I have this one with the thank you from the Tin of Cards set. So let me grab all my supplies and we can get started. I went ahead and die cut my my framelits, which are the Baker's Box Thinlits dies. I went ahead and cut those out using crumb cake. I originally started with a piece of 6x6, well, two pieces of 6x6, and just ran that through my Big Shot. I'm not putting in the piece up top because I like to put in the holes afterwards, just in the event that I decide that I don't want to, that I want to close it up differently. So anyway, to get started, what I wanted to do is I wanted to stamp the hardwood background. So I had some sort of background. I wanted it to basically make it very simple. Okay, so I'm going to just ink up my hardwood background with crumb cake ink. So it'll be just kind of tone on tone. This is going to be the front. You can see all the score marks. This is going to be the outside of my box. And I'm just going to line that up. I don't need to worry about this bottom piece being inked up, so I'm going to focus on getting the top of it done. Okay, and then you're just going to kind of rub your hands along the paper, making sure that you get a nice stamped image. And there you go. Very nice. It does need a little piece, or it did miss, doesn't get the whole thing, so there's a little piece right there that we need to get as well, and I'll do that in just a second. So I'm going to ink it up again, and I'm going to do the same thing with this other piece. Just line it up on this edge over here, put it down, and then just kind of rub. Okay, pick that up. Again, same problem. It's just gonna be over there, or it's gonna be missing there. So I'm gonna go ahead and just ink up this one side here, and I'm gonna just I'm gonna turn this, and then I'm gonna just kind of eyeball. Maybe I'm gonna put kind of where my fingers where I know that it needs to have, and then I'm just going to kind of line that up towards the bottom there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's wood grain, and I think that it'll be fine. I don't think that that's not really that noticeable at all, especially when it dries. And then you put the box together and it's going to be fine. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other piece. Again, just kind of putting my fingers where I know that it's not, and then just lining that up and then rubbing the rest of it. You can certainly skip this step if you don't want the wood grain. I wanted something a little different. I've made a bunch of these, and I thought I wanted to give a little slightly different take on it. This box actually was the 3D gift for those who used the hostess code when ordering. So all of you who did use that code will be getting these in the mail this week. So, or should have gotten them in the mail this week if you have not already. I'm just going to go ahead and reinforce all the score marks. And I will note that the directions for actually assembling this box are a little bit confusing. The idea behind this box, and even Stampin' Up, when you watch the Stampin' Up video, it's a little it's a little confusing because it doesn't really look like they folded it correctly either. The box is actually designed to fold flat when it's not in use. And what I mean by that, I'll show you actually before we do it, but these tabs here are key. These little, and if you look at the kits that they sell these in, you see that the adhesive is actually on these tabs, so it kind of gives it away where you should be putting that. But when we get to that, I'll definitely show you, because I want to make sure you're putting them together right as well, because it makes it makes a big difference, and you do need adhesive to put them together. I've seen some demonstrators just kind of slipping them in, and they say that they'll just stay in, but they don't. You do need to actually add some adhesive, otherwise they're just gonna fall apart, especially if you put anything in them. Okay, so now what I've done is I've just gone through and I've folded all the score lines. These score lines are going to fold towards you, where these score lines all, fold away. And that is because when you're going to have to think of kind of like a milk carton. So that's what that little point is there. So, all right, definitely want to use something strong. I'm using my fast fuse, and I'm going to add a little strip here to this tab, and then that tab. You could use the tear and tape. And now what you want to do is you basically want to line up your score lines. Okay, so you want, however you're putting it together, you want you want the sides going together. So if you're going to do it this way, then both of your tops are going to be at the bottom, and both of your bottoms are going to be at the top. That doesn't make any sense. You see what I'm saying? They're going in the exact same direction, okay? So now we're going to line up, like I said, we're going to line up the score marks, and then you will attach your sides together. Okay, just give this a little press. All right, so now we have one piece, those two pieces together. We're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to add adhesive to the strip. Okay, and now this is much easier because you just kind of fold this over and then you bring this one over and they match up. Makes it much easier. That first one's always the tricky one. Okay, so now here is the start of our box. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, this is where it gets a little confusing because some demonstrators are saying that you just need to tuck them in and then it's secure. Well, that's actually not true because you're going to go right through it. Okay? You need to add adhesive to these little tabs. Okay? If you want to put them on the inside, you are welcome to do that. I think it's a little bit more difficult to actually. It's easier if when you're putting your box together, we're going to add adhesive here to the inside of that little triangle or that little flap. Okay, and when you have yours, when you get yours, you can just pull this back and then you can add adhesive to this one too. You'll understand what the flaps are and what I'm talking about, okay? Now, the trick to doing this is you think about when you're using packing boxes, you kind of tuck. What I want you to do is now that you have adhesive on these tabs, just line up that tab with the side of the, with the bottom of your box, okay? And then give that a nice press. Do the same thing over here. Don't worry about tucking anything yet. Just line that up, glue it down, stick your fingers in there, do what you have to do, okay? And that is definitely not secure either. Now, this is where you're gonna stick that one little piece in, and now it'll seal. As long as we've done this right. So the idea is that now this will fold, and it folds flat until you're ready to use it. So it's kind of like a bakery box, so then when they go to use it, they just kind of pop it open, and there you go. And then that is actually very secure. Just need to push this down. I'm using the crumb cake, and it's actually really, really thick, so it's not... Okay, so now our box is secure. Have a nice, secure fit at the bottom. We're going to pinch these in, and then that comes up to the top. Okay? And our box is done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, while I have this in my hands, I'm going to punch 2 holes with my crocodile. Get my big hands in here. And you could certainly run this through and do the holes that come with the die cut. But I went ahead and just did those myself. So, alright, so that's ready. I'm going to bring in another piece of the crumb cake, and I'm going to stamp my thank you, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. It's all monochromatic here. Do my thank you. And then I'm going to bring in my circle punch. This is 1 3/4 inch, which makes it just fits perfectly. Get that punch. While I still have my crocodile here, I'm going to use the smaller hole and just punch a hole in there. And then I'm going to run some of the crumb cake seam binding through my box. So, oh, I wanted to mention too, see, you can't really even tell that I had to double stamp that wood grain. So I'm going to just pull that through. Scissors. Actually, you know what? And then I'm just going to pull it, feed it back through. Okay, I'm going to just cut it off here. I also have some of our linen thread, which I'm going to just kind of fish through, kind of like make a slip knot. I'll trim that off in just a second, but then I will keep that out of the way for right this second. And then you just make a bow. Or a knot, whatever is easiest. As I say, trying to make a bow. Thankfully, this seam binding is really forgiving, and it makes actually pretty decent bows. But I'm not going to sit here and make you suffer. Okay, I'm going to trim off the tails of my tag. I'm going to bring my tag to the front now. And that hangs down. And obviously, if I spent a little bit more time and patience with my bow. Okay. And there you have it. There's our baker's box completed. So they're really fun. They're actually pretty quick to make. You could do a bunch of them. You could cut them, a bunch of them at once, and then just kind of assemble them as you need them. So I hope that you'll give them a try. I think they're really fun. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Thanks guys. See you soon.